My name is Callum, and until a few weeks ago, I thought I understood marriage. I thought compromise was simple, communication was natural, and that love eventually softened every rough edge. But the night my wife, Juniper, sat across from me at the dining table with a folded sheet of paper, everything shifted. She took a breath, one of those long, nervous ones people take before saying something rehearsed. "Cal," she said softly, "I want us to have a healthier, intimate dynamic, so I wrote down 3 rules." I won't lie, I was caught off guard. Juniper wasn't usually the rule-making type, so seeing her cheeks stained pink and her fingers fidgeting with the paper instantly told me this wasn't going to be light. She slid the paper across to me. "Just read them, and then we can talk. I want us to feel safe and understood." The kindness in her tone calmed me, but inside, my chest tightened. Marriage wasn't supposed to need written rules, right? I opened the paper. Rule 1. No intimacy unless I initiate it first. Rule 2. No touching without explicit verbal permission, even casual affection. Rule 3. If I say not tonight, it ends there, no disappointment, no questions. I looked up slowly. She wouldn't meet my eyes. At first, I didn't feel anger. I felt replaced, like my presence in the relationship was something she needed to regulate instead of enjoy. I folded the paper and set it down carefully. "June, where is this coming from?" She swallowed. I need more control. Sometimes I feel overwhelmed, and sometimes I don't even know what I want. I thought this would help us." Her voice trembled. That broke me a little. I leaned back, processing. A storm of emotions spun inside me. Confusion, a little hurt, and something else I didn't expect. Fear. Fear that I had been making her uncomfortable without even realizing it. And right there, I knew this conversation mattered more than my pride. Before responding, I took a moment to steady myself. "June," I said gently, "I'll tell you what I think. But before that, if this story resonates with you so far, please tap the like button so it reaches more people who've been through complicated moments in marriage." I turned back to her. "Your rules, they matter, but I want to understand the reason behind them." Her shoulders dropped, relieved that I wasn't shutting her down. She opened up slowly. How stress from work made her withdraw. How she felt guilty for rejecting me. How she worried I'd think she didn't love me anymore. "Cal, I don't want to hurt you. That's why I set boundaries. I thought it would make things clearer." "It does," I admitted. "But it also makes me feel like the villain without knowing what I did." She gasped, then reached across the table for my hand but stopped halfway, realizing her own rule contradicted the gesture. That hesitation hit hard. "Tell me something," I whispered. "Did I ever make you feel unsafe?" "No. God, no. You're the safest person I've ever known," she said instantly. "This isn't about you being wrong. It's about me trying to feel stable." Her voice cracked. Tears welled up. "If you've ever been in a situation where boundaries got complicated, let me know your thoughts in the comments." Her vulnerability was raw, and I could feel the weight of everything she'd been holding inside. I reached for my water, giving myself a few seconds of silence to think clearly. I didn't want to react from ego. I wanted to respond with intention. "June," I finally said, "I respect all 3 rules. I do. But I have one rule of my own." She blinked, startled. "Okay. What is it?" "My rule is this. If either of us feels shut out, we talk about it immediately. No guessing, no silent suffering, no pretending everything's fine." She stared at me, stunned. "Because," I continued, "boundaries shouldn't become walls. If we keep disconnecting without talking, we're not protecting our marriage, we're abandoning it." Her lips parted slightly. "Cal, I didn't think about it like that. And if you think this idea matters," I said softly, "type the word communication in the comments to remind yourself how important it is in relationships." Juniper's eyes filled again, but this time it wasn't fear. It was relief. Can I come sit next to you?" she whispered. "You don't need my permission to be close to me," I said with a faint smile. But she shook her head. "I do, because I made it feel that way. And I'm sorry. She walked around the table slowly, like approaching something fragile. When she sat beside me, she exhaled shakily. Your rule, she said, voice trembling. It makes mine feel less harsh, more human. I rested my hand near hers, not touching, just there, letting her make the next move. I'm not trying to change your rules, I said. I'm trying to make sure we don't lose ourselves because of them. A soft, broken laugh escaped her. And that's why I love you so much it scares me. Her head dropped onto my shoulder, and I felt her body melt against mine in a way it hadn't in weeks. And if this moment made you feel something, I added quietly, share this story with someone who needs to remember that boundaries and connection must coexist. She finally whispered, Cal, I didn't expect your rule to be the one that would make me feel safe again, or make me beg for closeness instead of running from it. Her voice faded, shaky and sincere. That was the moment I realized this conversation wasn't about rules at all. It was about understanding. Juniper lifted her head from my shoulder and looked at me with a softness I hadn't seen in a long time. Her eyes weren't guarded anymore. They weren't calculating, tense, or hesitant. They were warm, open, almost pleading. Cal, she whispered, I don't want these rules to push you away. I just didn't know how to ask for space without hurting you. And I didn't know how much pressure you were under, I replied. But now we talk. That's the rule. She nodded slowly, processing every word with the seriousness of someone hearing a truth they had needed for a long time. There was a quiet moment, one of those rare pauses where the silence feels safer than the words. Then she breathed out, I think I forgot we're on the same team. I smiled gently. It happens. Marriage isn't about being perfect. It's about returning to each other every time something pulls us apart. Her fingers traced the edge of the table, nervous but thoughtful. You know, she murmured, when I wrote those rules I was scared. I thought you'd be angry, or worse, disappointed. I'm not disappointed, I said honestly, just surprised. But I'm glad you trusted me enough to bring it up. She gave a shaky laugh. I wish I had your calmness. You don't need it. You need honesty. That's enough. She leaned in slightly, as if testing how close she was allowed to be. And right there, I knew she wasn't asking for permission. She was asking if I still wanted her. The room felt heavier, charged with emotions that had been buried under misunderstanding. Tell me something, she whispered. Do you feel shut out? Really? Yes, I answered truthfully. But not because of your rules. Because you never told me how scared you were. I can't protect something I don't see. Her gaze softened. That's fair, more than fair. She reached for my hand. An instinct, not a permission-based decision, and intertwined her fingers with mine. Can I ask something? She said softly. Anything. Did my rules make you feel unwanted? I didn't sugarcoat it. A little, because they weren't built with both of us in mind. They were built from fear, not partnership. Juniper's head bowed. I'm sorry. I didn't realize how much power words on a page could have. You realized it tonight, I said gently. That's what matters. She blinked back tears. I want us to rewrite the rules together one day, when we're ready. For both of us. We will, I promised. After a moment, she leaned into me again, her voice barely a breath. Cal, do you still want me? With all this mess? I turned to her, placing my free hand over hers. There's no version of you I don't want. Her lips parted slightly, and I saw something shift in her expression. Something like relief mixed with longing. Then let me earn that closeness again, she whispered. Her tone was fragile, vulnerable, and drenched in sincerity. And if you've ever felt the weight of misunderstanding in your own relationship, I said gently, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective. Juniper took a slow, steady breath. You know what scares me the most? That I made you lonely in our own home. I shook my head lightly. Lonely doesn't mean unloved. It means we needed this conversation sooner. She smiled weakly. Then let's not run from these things anymore. No running, I agreed. Just honesty. Her fingers tightened around mine. Your rule. It changed something inside me. You made me feel seen instead of managed. That's all I wanted. For a moment, she just looked at me. No fear, no confusion, just clarity. Callum, she whispered. I don't want distance. I want connection. I want us. Her voice trembled. And if this moment reminds you of the value of rebuilding instead of giving up, I added softly, share the story with someone who might need that reminder today. Juniper's shoulders dropped with relief. Can I tell you what I was really afraid of? She asked. Tell me. That one day you'd stop trying. That you'd stop choosing me. I cupped her cheek gently. I choose you even when you're overwhelmed, confused, insecure, even when you write rules out of fear. I choose you because we're stronger together than apart. She squeezed her eyes shut, letting a quiet tear slip down. Cal, thank you for not giving up on me. And thank you, I replied, for being brave enough to tell me the truth. She took a breath, steadier than before. What now? She asked softly. Now, I said, we build something healthier, not rules, understanding. She nodded slowly. And if anyone listening has thoughts about what their rule for a healthier relationship would be, I continued, drop it in the comments. I'm curious to see what people believe strengthens a marriage. Juniper placed her head on my chest this time. No hesitation, no second guessing. Cal, she whispered, I promise I'll never let fear make decisions for us again. And I promise, I replied, to always speak when something hurts instead of quietly drifting away. She looked up, smiling softly. I'm grateful, truly. And if you've made it this far into our story, I added gently, don't forget to comment your thoughts, subscribe for more relationship stories, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next one. Juniper kissed my shoulder lightly, a gesture I wasn't expecting but felt deep in my chest. We'll be okay now, she whispered. I smiled. Yeah, we will. And for the first time in a long time, I believed it.